now what I want to do is I want to bring Trevor into the room. Trevor, are you ready? So let me read a quick little bio. Um, all right. So Trevor, for those of you who don't know, I'm super excited about him. I think he's Superman. I think he's Spider-Man. He's a superhero to me. When I first saw his stuff on Instagram, I was just like, okay. And it was months ago, and I think it was kind of on his rise. He might have been already at a certain level, but it was like, how is he doing this? Like he's really like Superman. He's flying around. He's jumping. He definitely looks like him. The suit looks like it's made for him. And yeah, so what he's able to do with his content and how he's able to kind of really embody Superman, Superman's moves, Spider-Man, etc. Whatever superhero, insert superhero here is kind of mind blowing to me. So I'm excited to have him on just to talk about how he got to that stage, as well as um, maybe, some secrets of how he creates his content as well, Trevor Bell was born and raised in Texas and then moved to New York City to attend Columbia University, where he played Division I varsity football and ran track at Columbia University. After graduating, Trevor found himself presented with multiple opportunities as a fitness model, actor, and motivational speaker. He bet on himself and began building a brand via cosplay content on social media, earning over 100,000 followers in less than a year and inspiring others to pursue their passions. Now he's a social media influencer with a staggering 1.5 million followers on TikTok, 200,000 plus followers on IG. He can be found in several commercials and TV shows with brands such as Coca-Cola, Under Armour, New York Sports Club, Def Jam, ABC, NBC. He continues to encourage others to take risks on themselves and change their dreams. Yes, and chase their dreams. Chase their dreams. Yes, so I'm bringing him in with this. I know it's corny. Spider-Man coming into the room. Here comes the Spider-Man. Okay, it's so corny. I love it though.
I love it. I love
What's
it. I did not
up,
expect
brother?
the intro there.
Yes, I wanted to introduce Spider-Man to the room. Yo, I'm really okay. It's good to see you in plain clothes, but I swear I was hoping you came in a
I
Spider-Man
almost did
costume.
it. I almost did
Yeah,
that.
I swear.
I
I was
almost
gonna,
did that. I
I was
really, I
gonna,
was, I was close. I don't know.
I
But I
almost.
imagine sitting through an hour in the suit, and I was like, maybe that's not a good idea.
Yo, that suit is epic and iconic. I love everything about that suit and everything about what you're doing, brother. Good to see you. Hi.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, what's
How
up,
are
man?
you?
Nothing much. I'm good, man. I'm good. Again, we're both you're in New York, right?
Jersey City, New
Jersey
York,
City.
close
Same
enough.
thing. Yeah, so we woke up and it's kind of dreary. It's kind of rainy. It's a Monday. It's the eighth week of quarantine. So,
Yeah.
there's a little bit of mustering of spirit that I have to do of like, oh, okay, let me get into it. But actually, you kind of encouraged me because I saw you this morning like, oh, I just left the gym and a run and a swim and I was like, oh shit, I just woke up.
No, man. No, it's I love what you were talking about before with the mental health stuff, man, because that's been a really big battle, and like in times like this, like you said, it's like 8 weeks in, and so running for me and like getting started early, that's like the only way that I can keep that sort of momentum, because there's been days in a row where I've just been waking up like
I
what am I gonna do with myself,
know.
like.
Oh my gosh. No, I completely feel it. So again, and so even that's why I'm doing this. And thank you so much for coming on
Of course, thanks for
and
having me.
sharing with us, man, because that's why I'm doing this is I just kind of want to, I have a network of creatives that I'm always working with
Hmm.
and connected with that I wanted to try to make sure I was continuing to connect with while we were doing this, but also to encourage them. So it was better than like me having to make 10 phone calls a day, like, hey, you good? Hey, you good? So I was just like, you know what? I'll be here every day at 2. And then you guys come check in with me. I'll say what's up. I'll share the resources. So that's kind of how we got here in the first place. So thank you for being a part of this and coming on to inspire our community of creatives and share your story. So,
Thanks for having me, and
of
like
course.
congrats to you guys for all of the work you've done. Hearing some people that are checking in and seeing how like you've kind of kept them going. It's nice to have something to look forward to on a regular basis, and like in a world right now where everything's so inconsistent and we don't know what's gonna happen next. To have someone like you and your team to to have something
Thank you,
consistent that
bro.
people can look forward to, like that's really amazing. So I really appreciate you guys doing this.
Thank you, bro. Thank
Yeah.
you. I love that. Mission accomplished then. Okay, now let's dive into you. How long have you been Spider-Man?
Right into
No,
it.
I'm
Let's get
joking.
it.
Okay, no, no,
All
no,
right.
no, no.
I
We
love
don't
it. I
have
love
to.
it.
We don't have
How
to
long
do
have I been
that.
Spider-Man? Well, I've always been a huge Spider-Man fan from when I first seen Tobey Maguire actually play Spider-Man. I think it was like 2002. But as for me personally, I didn't really get into Spider-Man cosplay or cosplay in general until about like 2 years ago, maybe a little longer now, 2.5 years
Tell
ago.
real quick. Tell the people what cosplay is for
Yeah.
those who don't know.
For sure, yeah. For you guys that don't know what cosplay is, essentially it's when people dress up as their favorite characters, not only superheroes, but favorite characters from movies, comics, favorite actors, and things like that. So it's a culmination of like a lot of different things, but it's essentially hardcore fans impersonating their favorite characters.
Got you. Hardcore fans.
Hardcore
Okay,
fans, yeah.
got you. And so, how did you get into that? You were already a hard. Okay, you were telling me Tobey Maguire. Go ahead,
Yeah,
carry on.
yeah. So I was a big superhero fan growing up, and I always kind of wanted to be that. You see like you go to the movies as a kid, and you see these films, and you see like these superheroes, and that's something that like I was super passionate about, and I loved it, but never really understood how I could do it myself. Like I never imagined myself actually doing it. Because some of my other dreams was like playing in the NFL and living in like a regular normal life, but like you know always had that aspiration to be an actor and
Uh-huh.
to be in that space. But there's a lot of hurdles, as you know, to being in an industry like that. And so, that's when after graduating college, used social media as a way to kind of leverage that and realize that, I didn't really have to wait to like try to pursue those things. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a
Mm.
lot of industries like modeling and acting where there's so many barriers to entry where you have
Yeah.
to like have an agent, you have to like know somebody, there's like you have to go to all this education and formal training. But what I love about social media and what I've learned really quick is that with social media, there's a way of like kind of evening the playing field to
Yeah.
where like if you have talent, it will show, and the eyes will get there, and so that's why I love it, and that's why I've been committed so much to it in the past 2 years because I found that it could be an amazing tool for sharing your talent and kind of getting over some of those barriers to entries in multiple industries.
Yes, that's
It's been
major. I
it's
mean,
been
you've definitely done that. You've definitely done that. And you said it's
you
only
know
been 2 years?
Yeah, it's been like 2.5 years since I took the leap and quit my I guess regular day job and pursued social media modeling full time. Super scary, but yeah, about 2.5 years.
Super scary. Super scary. Okay, so you mentioned that football. I mean, yes, and you played football at Columbia as well.
Yeah,
And then after that, you went and got a job. But you said that was one of your passions as well. When did
yeah,
you decide, like, you know what, I'm gonna go this direction? Like, I'm gonna go in the direction of
yeah.
social media and building a brand that way.
Well, to me, it's a little bit of a heartbreak story. I'll be honest. I mentioned like I like superheroes, but one of the biggest things that I wanted to do growing up was play in NFL. Like that was one of my biggest goals growing up, and like I had my eyes set on that. Growing up in a small town in Texas where like literally my life is Friday Night Lights, the movie. I had that was football was the way out, and
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I had a chance to go to Columbia and play football, and like that was my goal. And not a lot of kids from an Ivy League institution really go to the NFL. It's not really known because the level of play is not there. And so it was a small chance, but I took a risk on myself, and you know, despite a lot of people, including a lot of my family members, I wanted to pursue a career, and I turned down all my job offers my senior semester and pursued that full heartedly. And it was tough. It was tough. I didn't get a lot of looks, but I did have the opportunity to work out with the Jets and the Texans. But it didn't overall. It didn't work out. Like ultimately, I failed, and I think that that's what like a lot of people aren't comfortable talking about. And I think it's something important to talk about. Is like I took a risk on myself and failed, but that doesn't mean that because I failed in that doesn't mean that I can't do something else. So after going through like a tough little period, I ended up getting a job. And then, yeah, it was like a couple year period where I was like, you know what, like I can't do this. This is not for me. This is not for me. I cannot do this. And that's when I found social media. I actually came across an article. This is why I started social media. This is an interesting story. I came across an article. I think it was in Business Insider, and it was a top 10 fitness influencers on social media and what they made annually. And I was like, I looked at the numbers and it was all north of 7 figures. And I was like, this can't be serious. Like, this can't be real. Like, and this was like, I was like, this is no way this is true. Like, there's no way. And I looked it up and it was true. And I looked at some of these guys and I was like, you know, because I had just come out of playing collegiate football. So I was like relatively good shape. And I was like, looked at some of these guys and I was like, I think I could do this. Like, why am I not? Like, and then that's when the spark started, and that's when I realized that social media could be, you know, a tool for, you know, kind of pursuing your passion regardless of what it is, and finding ways to monetize it. So that's when it started, and then from there it kind of grew. Once I started getting a following, understanding like what it meant to have influence and what it meant to be getting eyeballs on your work and this audience, and like what the possibilities could be. Because then, like, you know, goals that I thought I couldn't reach before became possible all of a sudden. You know,
Ooh.
you know, it's like once you, it's just, and that's why I'm so passionate about social media. Is like you can almost literally, with the right creativity, you can turn any passion that you have into a career.
Into a career.
And it's just like, it's amazing. And like once I began to kind of connect the dots, and it took a while, it wasn't all at once, but once I began to build an audience and different opportunities started to come, Coca-Cola, you know, hit me up, Wilhelmina models, I was like, what is going on? Like, I had no idea this worked this way, you know? Like, I didn't even know how to get into modeling growing up, but now it's like, I'm having conversations from different recruiters from like Ford models, from Wilhelmina, and I'm like, I didn't know this could happen. And like, it's just amazing how much having exposure on social media can do for you as a creator in any field.
Yeah.
And I was just like, it was amazing.
Yo, from an article, and then you're like, I'm doing this. And you're off. Like,
right.
That's crazy. So, but you kind of took a different route. So, and I don't know about a different, you can speak to this, but even with
Sure.
the cosplay meets fitness, like, because yeah, how do people take it, people in your world, like family and friends, when it's like, you know what, I'm gonna, cause okay, honestly, there's a part of me when I first saw your videos, I was like, this dude is crazy. But then I was just being honest.
You're not alone, bro. There's a whole.
I'm like, is he in the train station with this costume on? Like, is he really in the streets with this costume on? Like,
Yeah.
something's wrong with him. But then after a while, it's like, oh, this is this is dope. Like, it was crazy. So I'm just imagining your family, friends, your football team, like when you were like, you know what? I'm gonna be Spider-Man in the middle of Harlem.
Yeah, no, you're right. No, you're 100% right. I would honestly say there's probably a community of people that probably even to this day still think like, what is this guy doing? I literally posted a video today of me in a flash shoot racing a city bus.
I saw that.
That is beside the fact. But no, you raised a good point. It's like, you know, when I first got into social media, you know, coming from being a collegiate athlete, you know, like that's a specific community of people, right? Like a jock athlete in college. Like it's a very much a certain stereotype of person. Like all of my friends were in that. And, you know, once I, you know, left my like career from pursuing football to, you know, going to this social media route, it became real weird, you know, like a lot of my, like my guy friends, they were all like, bro, why are you taking all these pictures with your shirt off and posting it on? So like, what is going on? Like, we get it. Like, like I can't follow you. And like, and to be honest, like I actually lost a lot of friends during that process. It was actually kind of, it was kind of tough. It was kind of a tough period for me because, you know, you can imagine that, you know, I'm trying out this new thing that I think could be something that could be more in the direction that I like and can be something more towards something I like instead of working 9 to 5. And, you know, posting these pictures shirtless and trying to be in this fitness modeling space. And it was a turnoff to a lot of my close friends. They were like, why are you trying so hard? What are you trying to prove? And things like that. And like, and then another thing too is like, they were like, you know, they had this like, I guess, stereotype of what like a straight guy should be posting. And so they were like trying to like say like all these different things about me. And I was like what does like sexual preference have to do with like what kind of art form I'm sharing? Like, you know, like those things don't relate. And so I ended up losing a lot of friends in that regard. And, you know, one thing I remember them saying is like, Trevor, why are you doing this? Like, why are you doing this? But, you know, as I continue to pursue what it was that I thought was authentic to myself, that question of like, Trevor, like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Became, Trevor, like, how did you do this? How did you do this? You know what I'm saying? Once, like, you know, I started getting these offers and these opportunities, once I got signed, the response kind of shifted. And then, like, you know, as I'm doing this and I'm learning more about myself and growing as an individual, this is right out of college, I learned that, like, there's so much value in being unapologetically yourself.
Yes. Speak
Right?
on
Like,
it.
you know, like for me, it's like when you're pursuing something and you're pursuing something wholeheartedly, people are gonna judge you for doing that. People are gonna there's always anything you do, there's always gonna be somebody that's gonna judge you. And initially it's gonna be tough. But if it's something that's unapologetically true to you, then it's gonna be something that like you can carry on, and that once you start creating the art form around it, you're gonna start seeing success. Like it's gonna shine regardless. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think that's really what I realized, and then social media was the channel for that. And I think that, like, and that's why again, like, I'm so passionate about it, because I think, you know, I've learned so much through the process.
Yes, yes. Respect the process, and it is a process too. So,
Definitely, it definitely
exactly,
is a process.
it's definitely a process. So, even speaking about that, okay. So, all right, you get into the cosplay, your numbers start to build. Was there a particular video that was like, oh, that's the video that changed everything, or was it
Yeah,
like a consistent thing, just the consistency? What was it?
yeah. Um, well, that's a good question. You know, for me, but kind of before the cosplay, there was a couple of videos that I was doing in the terms of fitness that were going viral, right? You know, I quickly noticed that in order to grow on Instagram in the fitness community was going to be tough, because, you know, sharing a workout video is one thing, because as you know now on Instagram, everybody and their mom thinks there's a fitness influencer now. So, you know, in any industry, like, it's really tough now. And then the question becomes, like, how do you separate yourself? How do you stand out in a crowd where everybody's trying to do the same thing? And
Mm.
so I quickly realized that doing workouts in different spaces was separating me. You know, I'd do a workout in Times Square, in the middle of Times Square, and get people's reactions to me doing like a crazy workout, and things like that started going viral. And you know, that's where it started. And then to say, like, I guess to go back to your question, like, what video really started, like, I guess once I started doing videos like that and they started going viral, that's when I realized, like, I understood, like, okay, like, this is a thing. Like, people like this, the responses are coming to this, I get it. And so then it built on itself. Then I, you know, like, I thought about superhero cosplay, and I realized that, you know, a lot of fitness guys are doing, they're not dressing as superheroes, like, and that's something that I enjoy. And so I just took a whim. Like, I was doing some research, and I was like, you know, I like this. And like, only people I ever see doing like cosplay, as I mentioned earlier, is like, you know, oftentimes the nerdy guy at the convention that's just like has like the comic book in his hand, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, with no offense, like, that's
Exactly.
cool, that's great. Like, but like, you never really see like a full on like fitness model doing things like that. And so it was really like, once I incorporated that, and you know, this is a funny story too. I remember talking to my friends and saying, like, hey guys, what do you think of me buying this $700 Spider-Man costume? They were like, excuse my language, but hell no. They were like, don't do that, bro. You're crazy. And like, honestly, I respect them. If they just said something like that too, I'd have been like, yeah, that's crazy. You're right.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
you know, I took a risk, and I was like, you know, I think this is gonna be cool. I think, like, I live in New York. You know, I'm relatively fit. Like, if I did super like workouts as a superhero, I think that might be cool. And you know, in order for you to get to that space to even think like that, you
Wow.
already have to be in a space of like being unapologetically yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
you
you
already
have
have
to.
you have to, because there's no way that you can have that kind of faith in yourself to trust something like that. And you know what I'm saying? And so I did that, and then once I started doing that, that's when things really started taking off. And a lot of people know me now from those videos, those past videos, as like being the Spider-Man, the Black
Yeah.
Spider-Man, and things like that. So that's where that kind of took off, and then from there, I had an opportunity to work with some well-known photographers that grabbed the attention of Complex Magazine, and then it kind of went up from there.
Just out of here after that. Out
Yeah.
of here after that. Okay, so tell me this real quick. The first time you put on the costume and walked outside to
Whew.
like where you're
That's
like, you
actually
know
on
what,
video.
I'm
I
gonna
have
go
the
outside.
video of that.
Are you serious? Please tell me about it. Just give me a little snippet
Okay.
of even how
Okay.
it felt for you, because I can only imagine, like, okay, it's not Halloween. I'm just gonna go out in the
Yeah.
train station or in the middle of
This is
Times Square?
important. You ask really good questions. I see how people
Thank
love
you.
this show. This is a really good question because I never even like thought of this moment until now. Like I've never even talked about it. But when I first got the suit, I was dating I was dating this girl at the time, and then I called over. I was like, you gotta look at this. This is freaking amazing. Like, I love this suit. And she's like, yeah, that's cool. And I was so excited because it fit like custom. Because you see these suits sometimes and they're like loose and you got them
Yeah,
Amazon.
that was another question about how, because it looks like it's your
Yeah.
suit.
I
It's
was gonna,
your.
maybe I'll grab it a little later.
Go
But
grab it. Go
all right,
grab
I'll go
it.
grab it. I'll grab
Go grab it.
it.
Go grab it. Trevor's going to grab his suit. I know you all wanted it anyway. I meant to tell him to have it on when he got to the interview, but you know, we're
So,
fine. We'll wait.
so here's the mask here, and then I have like the actual suit. But what's interesting, like I said, I paid $700 for when I first got the suit. I'm happy to say that I'm now sponsored by them, so I don't have to pay seven
Oh, as you
hundred
should
dollars. But
be.
these suits are actually custom made, right? Like they're custom made. So when I send the company these suits, they're I have to give them my measurements. So neck circumference, head circumference, bicep circumference, waist, and so they're custom tailored to your body. And so that's why it was so much. But another thing too is it's not just like a printed shirt. It's actually 3D printed. So it's raised. You can see how it's kind of
Oh,
raised there. And it's
yeah.
like this like 3D paint that's sort of raised as well. So that gives it a more realistic look. But
Oh.
yeah,
It
it's
looks so real. It looks so real. I was just like, he is Spider-Man. I swear you're Spider-Man. But go ahead. You were telling me the story about when you first walked out the house.
okay. Yeah, sorry. I feel like that's gonna happen a lot. We're gonna be getting on these tangents.
I know. It's like over here.
Yeah. All right, so I bought the suit. I invited my friend over, and then we recorded it. It's a YouTube video. We're gonna make a YouTube. And so I walked out of the apartment. Our plan was to go to the grocery store, and it was in walking distance. So I was like, the feelings that I had when I first walked out was like, people are gonna think I'm silly. Like people are gonna like laugh at me, and it's gonna be like lame. And like I was like nervous about that, but part of me was like, well, low key, they might think it's cool. Like I don't know. You don't really know how they're gonna act. You're kind of embarrassed but excited at the same time. You're like, I'm a grown man walking around in spandex. Like this is not in a grocery store. Like people are gonna be like, what does this guy do? What? Like, and so I was all these mixed feelings. And so we were walking, and I'm nervous, and I'm just like, oh god. And then like cars are driving by, like honking, and I can't see the reaction, so I'm just like, I don't know what's happening. We get into the grocery store, and I think I'll grab the basket and act completely normal. And then once I quickly realized they couldn't see my face, I was like, okay, it's not too bad. They don't know who I am.
Yeah, they don't know who I am.
And so once I realized that, I was like, oh crap, well, I could kind of, the only person that has to be embarrassed is her. Like, she's the one next to me. They don't know who I am. And so I'm pushing the basket, like doing a little jig, like in this full Spider-Man suit and putting stuff in the basket. I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. And then like, I started seeing like little kids, and I would like look at the little kid and be like, it became fun. And I think that's when I started to realize like, oh this is like, yeah, like this is, initially, I thought it was gonna be bad, but people like, this is fun. Like, it brings joy. I see people, the reactions on their faces. And I think once a worker came by and asked to take a picture with me, and then I posed with like a gallon of milk, like shopping, and then they were so happy. And then they asked me to FaceTime their son, and I was like, whoa, like this is becoming like a whole thing. Like that's like the weird wheels are turning in my head. I'm like, okay, like I see, like the response to this is good, like. And yeah, and I remember two kids actually had two Spider-Man hoodies on as I was checking out. They see me and they were like so excited. I remember seeing like the expression on their face, like, and their parents were like, "Oh, do you mind?" And I was like, "Okay." And then I did it, and then they were like started crying. Like I was like,
oh,
I was like, wow, like this is crazy. Like I didn't realize it was gonna be like this much. And I think that honestly, as much as I inspired them, I think they inspired me to realize like the power I had to kind of like share this sort of joy with them. And I think that once I realized that kind of changed the direction of how because before it was just like cool getting attention, like, oh, I'm running around superhero, like I love this. But then that inspired me to kind of take it to a new level and realize how much potential I actually had in that moment. And yeah, I never talked about that until now. I didn't realize that. I just realized that I have the picture. That story changed.
I want to
the
see
direction.
those. Share those with us so we can share them on the story, maybe. Like for
yeah.
the people. Like,
oh wow,
yeah.
I've never talked about that. Yeah, that's
I
what kind of
love
inspired me to
it.
take a direction that I took it. So yeah,
So tell
it
me,
was
what do your
cool.
friends and family think now?
They think they're used to it now. They just like know me as the guy that just that's part superhero, that thinks he's a superhero. So it's becoming a thing. Even I go home for like family reunions, like they expect me to like have it low key under my suit. It's like all my younger kids will follow me. They're like, Trevor, where's the suit? Where's the suit? And like I actually have to have it, and I'll come out. Like it's like a thing now. Like it's cool. It's cool. I think it's definitely moved past that like weird phase in the beginning.
I
My mom
love
did think
that.
it was a little weird at first, honestly. She's like, "You're really gonna like go out and like run around in suits and stuff?" Like, she's gotta be on this actually. I think she's on here.
Oh,
So
hey,
shout out to you,
mom.
mom, if you're
Shout
watching.
out to you, mom. The
I'm
suits
pretty sure
worked in
she's
his
on here.
favor, mom. The suits worked in his favor. Oh, how many suits do you have now? Because I know you have the black
Yeah.
Spider-Man, the red. You have Superman. Superman, right?
Oh
What else?
wow, did the research. Okay, yeah.
Yo, I'm here. I'll be paying
Man, they
attention.
don't give you guys enough credit, man. Jesus. Yeah, I have the red Spider-Man suit, the black, the symbiote version for my comic book fans. I have Superman. I actually have a Killmonger suit as well from Black Panther.
Ooh,
Yeah, I
I
know. I
don't
haven't
think
really
I've seen
shared.
that.
Yeah, I know. I haven't. You said that again?
I know. I said I don't think I've seen you in that.
No,
Have you
I haven't
altered
released it
anything
too
with that?
much.
Okay.
I think I set my measurements a little wrong. It's a little tight, but
Okay.
that's why I don't share it as much. But yeah, it does, I can't fit it, so I should be a little more confident in it. So maybe you'll see more of that soon.
Okay.
Yeah. So those are the
Oh
suits
my
that I have.
gosh, that is so
Yeah.
major. Okay, I love it. So, okay, so we talked about the suits and kind of how you got here. Now let's talk about the content. It is so beyond. Like, I don't, how are you doing this? Like,
Yeah.
is this all you? Is this, and I know you also have like a mastery of TikTok thing,
Yeah.
seminar class. So
hmm
obviously you're doing some of this yourself, but what was the learning curve? How are you doing this? Put us on. What's up?
Yeah. Yeah. Once like we got into like lockdown, I guess for lack of better words. Initially I was like, this is great for me. Like I'll do all my work on social media. Like this is gonna be amazing, easy, cakewalk. Brands are gonna be knocking down my door. Like, and then I quickly realized after like a week and a half that like you would think it would be a great opportunity, but it actually because like it's reverse. As an influencer, it's hard too because brands' budgets are decreasing and like they're not making as much money, and therefore that actually trickles down to the influencer as well.
Yeah.
It's not as simple. Like I thought like most people probably think even now that it would be reverse, but in fact
Yeah.
it wasn't. And it wasn't until like I guess probably like a month in where I started seeing like the brand deals and brands really starting to leverage social media again. But that first little month was actually kind of scary. Everybody was scared. Like
Yeah, we didn't know
everybody.
what to
Like
do. It's like, what's happening? What's
yeah,
going
so
on?
it
Yeah.
was like wide struck panic around and like what the future of everything was. But after 2 weeks, for me specifically, there becomes like a certain amount of responsibility to an extent, like in the fitness space, and I thought that like for me, I wanted to one like keep producing content, not let this affect me, and then use this time to kind of like do a lot of self development, and I'm trying to think of the best way to word it. Like it was tough. It was tough in the first couple of weeks, but I quickly realized that this could be an opportunity.
Mm.
When things get crazy and like things are all over the place and people are panicking, there's always opportunity in multiple reasons. And I think I remember because I was reading Think and Grow Rich, which I actually have here.
What is that?
Um, Think and Grow
Think and
Rich by
Grow Rich.
Napoleon Hill. That's one of
Okay.
my favorite books, especially during this period. And what I learned is like some of like the biggest opportunities come from moments like this and in times like this. Like I think I read a quote like most millionaires are made during depressions and things like that. And so
Wow.
that I think once I had that mentality ingrained in me, then I started producing content like crazy. And then I recognized it as an opportunity. And I noticed my social engagement going up, obviously, as everybody's on their phones. And then I
Yeah.
began to really double down and produce content consistently. But at first, it was I didn't just produce content in my apartment. I was like going out shooting with
Yeah.
photographers. I was
Yeah.
dressing up as Spider-Man in the city. So like, yeah, I had to quickly learn. Like, I gotta adapt. Adapt quick. And so yeah, I started doing it and producing content and adapting it, like doing home workouts for people and doing funny content indoors and funny skits and things like that. And so, yeah, it was a challenge, but we got
No,
through it.
it's amazing. You got through it, absolutely. And I love that now I've been noticing that you'll post a video, but now you're showing some of the BTS of how that video came to life. That's
Mhm.
amazing. Shout
That's
out to you
actually
for
a,
that.
yeah,
I mean, we're about that life over here in terms of the process, but I
yeah,
know it's kind of like also some tricks of yours too, but
mhm,
it's amazing that you're willing to share that. So speak
yeah,
about even just the idea of sharing what you know and that being
yeah.
a value as well,
Of course, yeah. I mean, I got that from TikTok, and I started my TikTok in April of last year, and quickly realized there was a lot of value on TikTok. I heard it, people were talking about it, but I was like, TikTok is for little kids. Like, that's not for me. Like, but then I was like, wait, I have Dress Up as a Superhero. So that's totally fine for it. And then so that's what kind of got me on TikTok. I was like, it's for little kids, but hey, like, you know what? I can play on that platform as well. And then once I got on the platform and started like looking up content and things, I like realized it was all ranges, right? Like there's a lot of different age ranges on TikTok, and I think it has this perception of only being for like young little white teenagers doing like cringy dances and things like
Yes,
that.
yes,
Yeah,
exactly. I'm
like
a savage. Yes,
you know what I'm
yes.
saying? Like, but like, it's actually it's surprisingly a lot older demographic than people think. There's and I can spit out statistics, but there's a lot of users. Over a quarter of the this is a statistic. Over a quarter of the users, 26% to be exact, of the users on TikTok in the United States are between the ages of 26 and 44. Over a quarter of the people in the United States.
Really?
And people don't really know that. I'm like, there's a lot of older people on
Mm.
TikTok and a lot of people that are building businesses on TikTok, and I'm just like, it's kind of
But
crazy.
tell me, okay, real quick, how can you even do? I mean, I understand how you can do it for an influencer, but like,
Yeah,
what? I just see dance challenges. Like,
yeah, I know, and that's the
what's
problem
happening?
is that like there's not because like the what TikTok pushes is like all these dance challenges and things like that. But once you really start getting in the app and like really like explore different content, you'll quickly realize that there's everything on TikTok. Some of the biggest things on TikTok now are there's a lot of educational content. There's photography. There's like teachers on TikTok. There's artists. It goes the full spectrum, and I think that's the misconception around like what's on TikTok, and there's a lot of opportunity as well, and I think there's opportunity because of the misconception. It's like a land grab at this
Ah,
moment because people are thinking that it's only these cringy dance videos, things like that, but when in fact it's not, and the people that are on are getting all this organic exposure because they once they're on, they realize, oh, it's not that.
oh, I can do this.
Yeah,
Got you.
exactly.
Okay,
But yeah, I guess
okay.
I'll kind of want to. Yeah, I'll go into like some of the tips that I use for content and things like that. Um,
Yes, give us
for sure.
tips.
Yeah. So quick tips on like for me, like for anybody that's watching this, I guess from a social media perspective, not even just talking about myself, but in general, kind of like what I've seen. It seems that Instagram in 2012 was very much a big opportunity. You know, we do anything on Instagram 2012, 2013, and try to build a brand, whatever what it is, what matter what it is. It's a lot easier to grow then than it is now, and I think a lot of people
Mm,
can attest to the fact that it's much harder to get an audience and to grow now on Instagram than it was like 3 or 4 years ago.
yeah.
Algorithm switches, more people getting on the platform, more ads, more competition, and things like that. And so that's like the nature of most social media channels, right? And it happened to Facebook. And what's interesting is that I try to explain to people that TikTok is in the exact same place that Instagram was in 2012 and 2013, right? Like when you first thought about Instagram, like 5 years ago, it was kind of like the college people's app, like photographers only, things like that. In the same light that people look at TikTok, it's like it's the young people's app. It's just for dancing. Nah, nah, nah. It's the same thing. History repeats itself. It's the same thing
Yes.
happening over and over again, and that's where the opportunity comes in. The only difference is that you have to understand when you look on TikTok, and this is where the tips come in, is that you have to understand the context of the app, the nuances of the app, because every app has different nuances that you can use to grow, right? Like on Facebook, it's long form content, storytelling, longer videos, big writing, big text.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go to Instagram, it's like, it seems like to be like more of a highlight reel. It seems to be like your best photo, your best video, things like that. What's happening on TikTok, it's more of like a creative bubble of like quick attention and fun. It's like quick fun and things like that. And so it's just a matter of like understanding the nuances of each platform as you go. And so, for example, with TikTok, the how to like succeed on TikTok is like to create short form videos that are formatted in, I know, and formatted in such a way, like even for you, like what we're doing on this talk show, like this is amazing because you can take clips from this and then chop it up and then put like a quick text overlay that said the topic we're talking about, and then chop it up and throw it on TikTok, and it'll do really really well.
Really, on TikTok, this kind of
100%.
content works on TikTok?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's crazy.
Oh,
It's just a matter
okay.
of how you format it.
Follow us on TikTok. But go ahead.
Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, I mean, for me, like producing content, video content, I'm doing a big focus on. I don't really use hashtags as much on Instagram because of where I am in my like in terms of my following. Hashtags don't work as well for me as they do for people under 10,000 followers. And I mean, yeah, like I'll gladly take questions about it. There's so much information like about social media I could say that I could be here for like 3 hours trying to like.
Yes, yes. And if you guys have any questions, ask them in the question box below. We have like 10 minutes left, so ask your questions really quickly if you have any. Okay, cool. So what else? What else? What else? Okay. I have so much. It's so much, so many places I could go,
I
Trevor. How
know.
you feeling? What tell me, how does it feel to be do you call yourself, if someone asks you, walks up to the street and asks you, what do you do? How do you respond?
Yeah, I say, it depends who I'm talking to, but in most cases, because of like lack of understanding around, I just say influencer because that's the easiest way to convey what I do.
Mm-hmm.
I just find that it has such a negative connotation around being an influencer. They think that, oh, you're an influencer. You think you're all that in a bag of chips. All you do is take pretty photos. Like, it just like, it automatically, your depth in the conversation as a person just went from here to boom as soon as you say you're an influencer. And so we all know it. And that's my hesitation with saying that, because there's so much more to it. I look at my platform as being obviously entertainment, obviously it's fitness modeling, but it's also comedic in a sense, and it's also educational in a sense, and inspirational. And that's the thing that I
It's
think that just
definitely
saying the term,
inspirational.
yeah, and just saying the term influencer, I think it takes a lot away from it. But yeah, that's kind of what I say, and then obviously I'll say fitness model, actor, and like content creator. That's like kind of like my go-tos there. But
Got you.
yeah,
Got
yeah.
you. Okay, and then for you, I know you're moving into acting. Well, you're already acting, but where do you see yourself going after this? Or as an actor, here's the actual better question. What type of roles do you see yourself playing?
Uh, I like that question. Well, obviously it's superheroes.
Yes, Trevor from
Yeah, so
Spider-Man. Trevor from
yeah,
Spider-Man.
that's my dream, man. My dream is to be able to play a superhero in a major motion picture.
Uh-huh.
To be able to work with in like a Disney or a Marvel is like one of the biggest goals of mine, I think, as of now. And one person that I really look up to in this moment is Dwayne the Rock Johnson. I think Dwayne has
Oh.
built such an amazing career, and not only him, guys like Terry Crews, these big fitness motivational personalities as black men in the community, and they've been able to build such these big empires around personal brand and be able to translate that through their industries to acting, to talk show hosting and things like that. And I've been looking at, especially The Rock. I mean, he's probably like my number one influence in the moment, and
I see
um,
that.
he's actually coming up with a new superhero film now.
Oh,
Black
really?
Lightning, I believe it's going to be coming out, that he's doing with DC, and I'm really excited about that. He's literally doing it. He's doing it, and I think guys like that inspire me, and I could see my career kind of going in that sort of direction.
I see that. I'm with that. I'm here for all of that. Okay, let's see. We have a question.
I'll try to look here as well.
So many platforms. How How do you manage being on so many platforms, and how do you tie the content all together?
That's a really good question. I know
That
Solange
is a
actually.
good question. Oh, hey,
I know her from
Solange.
college. Um,
Oh, hey.
yeah. So how do I manage
Oh,
being on so many
sorry.
platforms? No, it's okay.
Okay, you
So
got it? Okay.
yeah, so with me being on so many platforms, what I quickly learned is that one, I keep one thing in mind, and that's content is king. And
Yes.
whatever you do, content is king, no matter what industry. If you have eyeballs on it, that's the most important because everything else trickles from there. And that's where I always like to start. And once I realized that, that's where I focus most of my attention. And then I also understand to work smarter, not harder. So when I create content, I always think of like a sort of like a pyramid in terms of my content. So like if my content's starting up here, I always think of the platform where I can create content for, where everything trickles down from there. So I don't have to work too hard. And a good example of this is like I'll start off making content for TikTok because I know that I make content for TikTok. I can translate that same piece of content by formatting it for Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook page. And then I always tell people like, just when you think about all these channels, don't get overwhelmed because you make content for the piece that can be converted into the most smaller pieces of content. For example, like I guess
Uh,
in your shoes, like you're doing these things here. Like this is amazing because, for example, if you're doing the show and it's being recorded, from this alone, you can have like long form podcast. This can be turned into a podcast. This can be turned in
yes,
YouTube
Trevor.
video where you crop and put it side by side and you have questions over it. This can be turned into TikTok, short 3-second clips with text overlay explaining what's happening with tidbits. This can be turned into Instagram post, a Twitter. You can actually screenshot things from this as I'm talking. You can put a quarter graphic. It's just understanding that you have to work smarter. And that's why I go back to understanding the nuances of each platform because if you understand that how each platform works and what type of content works on each platform, then you can begin to create content with everything in mind. It doesn't feel like work.
Ooh, yes,
That's a
yes,
lot. I
Trevor.
know. I know. I know.
That was a lot. I needed all of that. And just so you know, and I'll talk to your manager. Hey, EJ, I'm talking to you after this because you have some good ideas on what I could be
Oh
doing, and I
yeah, no.
need
I
some
was
of
gonna.
it.
We
So
should talk. Yeah,
we
I
should
have a lot
talk,
of cool ideas.
please.
Yeah.
Please, you have a lot of cool ideas. I'm with all of them. Real quick because we only have what 5 minutes left. It
Yeah.
happens so fast.
Yeah.
I want to play a quick game of either or with you. You ready?
Okay. Here we go.
Ready? Instagram or TikTok?
TikTok.
DC or Marvel?
Marvel.
Krispy Kreme or Dunkin' Donuts?
Krispy Kreme, baby. I
Krispy
actually have Krispy
Kreme
Kreme
all day.
all day.
Football or track?
Football.
Uber or Lyft?
Uber.
Spider-Man or Superman?
Spider-Man.
Cash or check?
Cash.
Cash. That was too
Come
easy.
on now.
Comedy or horror?
Comedy.
Compassion or tough love?
Passion.
Obama or Oprah?
Obama.
Early morning or late night?
Oh, come on. That's a tough one. I don't know about that one.
Come
It depends
on.
for what, but early morning.
Okay. Call or text?
Text.
Text. Okay. Yes. Early morning
Woo.
text. Okay. Real quick. Word association. Teamwork.
Together.
Collaboration.
Hard work.
Spider-Man.
Marvel.
Action.
Packed.
Invoice.
What was that? I didn't know what to say on that one.
Invoice.
Invoice?
Invoice.
Oh,
Coin.
invoice. Cash.
Yeah. Cash. Exactly. Influencer.
Celebrity.
Social media.
Opportunity.
McFadden Beach. Do you know that beach? Okay, that was somebody. Somebody threw that in there. That wasn't good, Mark. That was Mark, producer. He
Come
was like,
on,
"It's
Mark.
close to his house. It's good." I was like, "No, it's not." TikTok. Last one.
Creativity.
Yes. Okay. And then last thing, a quote to live by, or the best advice someone's ever given to you.
Uh, got it. Can I give a couple?
Yes. You
Okay.
got 3 minutes though, but go ahead.
Okay. Cool. One is self mastery. Period. Another one is our reward in life will always be in exact proportion to our contribution. I actually have quotes that I look at daily, and these are my go-to quotes for all you guys. The next one is tell the world what you're going to do, but first show it. The next one is don't let the lack of money control your decisions. And the last one is become a media company and you will win.
Yes. Trevor Bell, ladies and gentlemen. Yay, clap it up. Trevor, yo, thank you so much. This has been,
Of
I mean, it
course.
was quick, but it was
It was
robust
good.
in
It was
information.
chopped. It was precise. I love
It
it,
was
man.
good, right? And I'm gonna hit you later so you can tell me how I should deal with all my content that I'm trying to build here. Okay?
Of course. Thank you so
Okay,
much for
man.
having me.
Of course,
It was
man. Thank you
amazing.
so much. All right, so we'll talk soon. All right?
All right.
All right. Bye. Thank you. Bye. Yo, that was so much fun. Trevor Bell, Spider-Man came and saw us today. Superman, I'm so lit about it. Okay, so tomorrow I have, who do I have on tomorrow? Terrell Jones, my brother, amazing stylist, creative director, and designer. Terrell Jones. He's in the comments now. Say what's up, Terrell. Terrellish, that's him. Follow him so you can know what he's about, see what he's into. He's the flyest guy I know, and he dresses DJ Khaled and other people, and he has an impeccable eye and a style. And yeah, you want to check it out. And his story is so inspiring, so positive. So it's another motivational, inspirational moment tomorrow. So I can't wait to check on my brother. So yeah, so that's tomorrow. Trevor, again, thank you for today. It's week 8 that we're here. We're gonna make it through. What was the quote? What was the quote we had on the page today? Be true. Do you be true to yourself? Something like that. I'm sorry, but that part, do that. Make sure you guys are being true to yourself. Like Trevor said, you know what? Just yeah, be bold about your actions, be bold about your decisions, and don't care about what other people think. You see what a guy Trevor, if he would have listened to all those other people, who knows what he'd be doing. But right now, instead, he's a superhero. So be a superhero. All right, guys. I hope. Oh yes, and Danae is on. Hey, Danae. Okay, and Danae is on Wednesday. Danae B is me. She's in here too. Hey, Danae. I'm excited to have both you and Terrell on. Harlem, stand up. Okay. All right. I'm clocking out, you guys. Peace. Have a good Monday.